Hey everybody, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. Tonight I'm going to do a review on a holster that I absolutely love. This holster company, his name is Courage Holsters, and let's see if I can straighten that out. Courage Holsters is owned and operated by Greg Harrison. What I'll do at the bottom in the description is I will put all of his information and where you can actually reach his holsters and hopefully buy one. I have to tell you that at first when I was looking at holsters, I didn't necessarily know if I wanted to spend the money on a outside the waistband holster. So I had contacted Sean and asked him if he'd be willing to kind of donate for a T&E type of deal, and he obliged. He said yeah, that would be great, and he sent me this one. Now the holster itself, the design of it, I told him, do whatever you think is great, and he emailed me back saying, I watched some of your videos to try to get an idea of what you were about. And he decided to come up with this pattern of your multi-cam pattern with the American flag emblazoned on it, which is perfect because if you look at the background here, that's what I got. So awesome job. Appreciate it, Sean. Again, in the construction section of this, what you can see here is that every single little smooth line is just really, really smoothed out. I mean, there's no jagged fit and feel at all. Everything is nice and smooth, very polished. So again, awesome job. I mean, it's just really nice quality stuff. One of the other things I was concerned about when I was looking at this holster was the size of it. From some of the pictures that I've seen online from certain outside the waistband holders, some of them look like, almost like you have this massive briefcase on your hip. So I was a little concerned that this would be a little bit too big, especially since it was made for the 320 compact. And because it's a bigger gun and a thicker gun, I was worried that this would not necessarily be practical for me in New York because of the fact that we don't have open carry here. And honestly, this is the first outside the waistband holster I've owned, and it won't be the last. I mean, it's just a phenomenal holster, at least for what I was looking for. Sean basically was explaining to me when I was speaking to him about how he made the holster and what he was looking at. He said that he had made previous attempts with Kydex clips as well as steel spring clips, but he noticed that a lot of times those clips were failing, so he decided to go to a thick gauge of leather, which is really nice. I mean, the leather is really nice. It's pretty heavy duty, so I'm hoping they will, keep their shape over time, but I don't see much give at all, especially when they're bolted into the actual, holster itself. In regards to, the cantability, it's already canted, as you can see. Just flip that around. You can see that if I was to straighten out that holster, you can see there's a slight cant, probably about 10 degrees. But the way I actually put these straps on, the holster will actually set like that. Let's see if I can get that in the camera a little bit better. So it'll sit like that, which actually gives you a little bit more of a radical cant, a little bit past 15 degrees, I believe. But I haven't tried it this canted, so I'm going to try it tomorrow and see how it fits. But I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty comfortable. In regards to the overall footprint of the holster itself, again, since I live in a concealed carry state, not an open carry one, I wanted to test it out in public to see if it was that noticeable. So when I had worn it, I actually just wore a regular button-up shirt with some jeans, and since it's getting a little cooler, you kind of wear a couple of layers. In this case, it was just a shirt, and that was it. And this thing was pretty much invisible. I don't think you could see anything. As a matter of fact, I had asked my wife if she could see it at all, and she knew where it was, so it wasn't like it was invisible to her. But she said if she didn't know where I hold my gun, she said she would never have noticed it. So that was a big plus for me. And again, I was out in public for 2 straight days with this thing on outside the waistband, and you couldn't see anything. One of the other things I do like about the holster is the fact that you have a very good curve on it, which is very, very nice. So while most holsters lay very flat, this one has a very good curve, so you can actually probably carry this at the 4 o'clock position also without any issues. I carried it at around 4 o'clock. I even carried it at 3 o'clock, and I had no issues with printing or any of it being uncomfortable. So again, it was just a very, very good fit. Again, it's not very thick. It's actually a very slim profile, so that's a big plus, especially with the 320. And if you know the 320, it is a pretty big fat gun. And in this case, it holds itself very well with this holster. I mean, like I said, it's barely noticeable for an outside the waistband. Again, one of the other things that I look for in quality holsters is to decide whether or not I like the holster. I have to see how they actually fit the molding on the gun itself. And you can see just on the back panel of it, because it is darker, you can see that the holster itself actually fits very well with the molding of the actual pistol. This is a SIG 320, so you can see it right here. You'll notice you have your serrations up front. Again, if you were to put this side by side, you would notice that the serrations here identically match the serrations there, and you can actually make out the serrations a little bit on the top and the sweat shield here. Notice the takedown lever here. You have that takedown lever right there, and of course this is the area for the slide lock. So I mean, it absolutely fits perfectly. The molding is well done. Even on the inside, you can see he really molds them to detail, even on the inside. And of course, on the exterior side, where most people will see it, you can see the actual shape of just about everything there. Now, the big question is, how does the actual pistol fit? So let's take a try and see what happens. So as you can see, I'm pushing the gun in. So that right about there, you meet some pretty good resistance. And then you have your snap. Again, amazing retention, okay? Obviously, the gun is not loaded. Here's the full magazine. So we'll put that in there, and we'll see how it holds itself. Again, it's holding it in there pretty darn well. So I have no complaints about that whatsoever. Sean has done a great job with the fit and finish of the holster itself. You know, his information, again, I'll put at the bottom of the page in the description. Check him out. You know, again, he's a veteran. He's invested a lot of time and money to make this company start up, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys would go visit his website and maybe pick something up. I mean, I looked at his website on Facebook and on Etsy, and I have to tell you, man, that the stuff that he's got going on is pretty darn impressive. He's got a lot of good stuff there. And when I say a lot of good stuff, what I mean is his designs that he has, anything you can think of, he can probably do it. I've seen him on his websites alone. He makes sheaths for knives, for wallets, you name it. And I mean, just about in any pattern you can talk about. Patriotic patterns, camo patterns, miscellaneous patterns, you name it. And it's definitely good to see that he's giving you a lot of options out there. So again, check him out. It's Courage Holsters. His name is Sean Harrison. Again, his company is TST Survival. And I'll put down in the description again where you can find him on Facebook and of course on Etsy. And hopefully you guys will, you know, turn around and, you know, buy a holster from him. So I hope you guys are having a great night. And as always, freedom is never free.